Veronica, the Ebola crisis continues to stay in the news. Governor Christie finds himself right in the middle of it, and now we've got more information.
Right, we've got Governor Christie back in the national spotlight, but this time responding to the Ebola crisis. Now, on Friday, Governor Christie and Governor Cuomo, they held that press conference where they announced a mandatory quarantine policy for all healthcare workers exposed to Ebola. Now, this impacted Nurse Kaci Hickox, who was quarantined in a tent in New Jersey against her will, and she, along with the ACLU and the CDC, they came down hard on Governor Christie's decision with criticism. Now, today, Governor Christie, he appeared on NBC's The Today Show with Matt Lauer, and he defended his decision.
The fact is, Matt, that she presented at the airport as someone who had direct contact with folks who were infected with the Ebola virus, and then she became symptomatic.
Now, all this discussion has forced some to ask where Ron Klain is. Now, this is President Obama's newly appointed Ebola czar, and you can see here on the front of the Daily News, it says, "Where the hell czar you?" Saying, should his leadership be taking control? But others are pointing to Governor Christie, saying this is an opportunity for him to look quite presidential and take on this issue. So we have Matt Rooney here in studio via Skype from the Save Jersey blog to weigh in on the debate.
Yeah, look, the one thing that's easier to do than lead yourself is tear down somebody else who's trying to lead. The CDC and the Obama administration have been repeatedly wrong from the very beginning of this crisis. First, they told us Ebola was unlikely to get here. Then it got here all right. Then they told us it was unlikely to spread to any of the healthcare workers. Sure enough, we have 2 nurses that contracted Ebola. Governor Christie is doing what any leader should do. The Obama administration should draw from what him and now several other governors are trying to do, erring on the side of caution, instead of making this a political matter and trying to score points.
With all of the discussion about how they're handling it inappropriately, there's 1 death in this country, 8 cases that essentially have been treated. So it's tough to look at those numbers and say they're handling it wrong, and 300 million people and 1 death.
Well, there's a reason why nurses like the one in question were going over to Africa, because over there thousands of people are dying, and we're trying to prevent that here in this country. But listen, how can you do that if you're not going to put the proper quarantine measures and precautions into place?
Governor Christie on Ebola, he's just mean. He's such a bully. Why is he such a bully? Locking a nurse in a tent for days because she went and treated patients in Africa?
We're in the midst of a fight against Ebola. Do I want a government agency to act reactionary, or do I want a bully? I want a bully that kind of hits first and doesn't get hit first.
Governor Christie was criticized when he, gave that bear hug to President Obama for taking that help with Hurricane Sandy. Now Governor Christie says President Obama's not doing enough and he's taking the lead. The only thing that this shows about the governor is that he is consistent in the fact that he's going to do what he thinks is best, no matter what party it involves and no matter how he's looked at for it. And I think this lends to that credibility of the governor that many people, aren't always so sure to, agree with.
Let's give Matt. Matt, you get last word on this. Governor Christie took some criticism for the quarantine. He also is being applauded on a national scale. Does this hurt or help?
Oh, it's a huge help. Again, Governor Christie is leading at a time where the American people feel as if no one else is. And because they're right, we're about to see a midterm election where a lot of incumbents are going to lose their jobs because of the lack of leadership. It's going to help Governor Christie going forward heading towards 2016.
Matt Rooney, always a pleasure. Thanks, man.
Sorry, I'm recording you.